Yash, do you realize anybody that has any kind of neurological disorders, nervous system imbalances, mental health issues, etc., chronic pain, degeneration in your bones and joints, fibromyalgia, or lupus, or chronic degeneration, etc., do you realize the strength and state of your nervous system, the stability in your nervous system is big time responsible for how you feel, the intensity of these symptoms. Okay? Nervous system runs everything. It's the electrical department. It stimulates. If the nervous system's functioning super well, you're not going to have these problems. I'll say like that. It's what causes the body to have blood flow and nerve flow and oxygen flow. If everything's flowing, if all your energies are flowing and you're super hydrated and alkalized, if there's movement, if your whole interstitial fluids are flowing like a river and bathing your cells and everything inside, can you feel intuitively like what I'm pointing to? You're just not going to have a lot of symptoms. Okay? So then, if that's understood, the question becomes, okay, how do I strengthen my nervous system? The medical community doesn't know how to do that. They know how to stimulate the nervous system. They know how to suppress the nervous system, but they don't know how to regenerate the nervous system. How do we get power for our nerves without side effects and without weakening it in the long run? This is the thing. Overstimulation will weaken something at some point because it's overstimulating. So we gotta use nature and its intelligence and its laws as best as we can to try to rebalance the nervous system. Nature knows how to do it. It created the nervous system. Okay. So one huge thing, it's like everybody's a dopamine addict on some level. Everyone's an addict. They like stimulating this dopamine box to get a hit. Give me some euphoria. I don't feel good. Especially this channel is for people that have chronic neurological problems or bone and joint, chronic pain, etc. Those people, of course, you want to get away from your symptoms. But the methods we use to get away from our symptoms, in the long run, exacerbate our symptoms. It makes the nervous system weaker. This is the thing. So we like dopamine hits. We like to stimulate that dopamine box, get a few seconds of euphoria, and then we're, what are we going to do? So people, they can spend their whole life constantly getting dopamine hits. I did. Ever since I was a kid, I would try to get, so let's go over all the subtle ways we can get dopamine hits. See, most people, when they think about addicts, what's an addict, they think about the drug addict or the alcoholic. No, I'm talking more subtle. I'm talking subtle stuff here. That's obvious. We got to make it more subtle. When you have chronic mental health or physical issues, we got to get subtle. Okay? People watching. So pornography on the internet. That's a huge hit. But it's not just that. You can just being on the damn internet all day is a dopamine, a constant dopamine hit. Seeing all the different pictures and different, let me check this, let me check that, look at this, look at that. You just get absorbed. It sucks you in. You can't stop. People can do that for hours. Be scrolling on the internet. 5 hours go by, they don't even know it because they checked out. You can do that with TV, with movies, but now the internet, that's a stronger dopamine hit. That's a more seductive addiction than before we had internet. Because TV and movies, it's just not the same. You get bored after a certain point. But the internet, constant stimulation, constant dopamine hit. This is a big one. So you got to check that. if you're younger, going out and trying to get attention, trying to get hits of attention, external attention when we're out in town from the opposite sex, for example. Oh, she looked at me. That felt good. That was a dopamine hit, a dopamine release. Oh, it went away. I need to do it again. Then if you get real clever, clever in a non-clever way, you can go overseas and go somewhere where there's like, they never seen a foreigner before. Then you really get a bunch of hits. And then that really stimulates the dopamine. You see? I was a dopamine addict. That's what I wanted to do. I figured out, like, if I went to India and even when I went to Brazil, I'd go to these remote places where, well, I was trying to find remedies to heal. So I would seek out those obscure places, but then in the process, I would discover, like, well, I get a lot of attention here. Coming from LA, where everyone's an actor and a model and nobody looks at you, everybody wants you to look at them. It was really refreshing to go somewhere where I got all the looks. I felt like a movie star. I didn't even have to be an actor. That was a good deal, seemingly. So I got all these hits of validation and dopamine hits, and it was just wrecking my nervous system. The anxiety that it was causing when I already had an existing problem with that. It was just exacerbating the hell out of my symptoms, weakening my nervous system, because when you're constantly drinking this dopamine, it's a drug. If you constantly drink alcohol, that's going to weaken your body and your nervous system. Well, don't you know dopamine does the same thing? And it's even more dangerous. You don't have to go out and buy it. It doesn't cost anything. You have access to it, the dopamine drug, anytime. All you got to do, you can just think certain thoughts and get a dopamine hit. That's a dangerous drug that nobody talks about hardly. This is why we're talking about it. Because if you want to really come into a more semblance of balance, if you have chronic issues, you got to look at this. This is a big ingredient in the recipe to wellness. This is why I'm sharing on it. So is diet, and so is company, and so is being in good environments. This is why I share about these things. When you're doing all that together, you're going to have some medicinal power. How can you not? So the trouble is, though, is like, well, how do I start? I don't have any power. I'm like suffering with these symptoms. This is why grace has to help you with that and show you what to do. It's about time, it has people who, if you're taking like a bunch of pharmaceutical drugs and that's wearing you out and you feel like you don't have any power and your whole lifestyle's debaucherous and you're an eating addict and you're eating ice cream cakes every night or something, it's like, yeah, you're not going to have any power. Like something in you knows, yeah, I should change, but you don't have any power because all these habits you're doing stripping your power. So how do you start? How do you make a start? Watch my videos that I keep making about lifestyle habits and diet. You just start. Somebody asked me, I told them, like, you do this. He says, but I can't, I don't have any power. Well, then you try. Like, what are we gonna do? You gotta try. You gotta start somewhere. And then God, the universe, will help you. If I don't make any effort, what am I going to do? It's like I can't activate universal powers if I'm not making an effort. Now, it can be a grind. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but what better use of my life can I use except for this? What else can I, what am I going to do? This is more important than money, more important than anything, is to be in alignment with the laws of nature so that then I can have the best experience, human experience possible, and so that then God can use this instrument to be of service to others. It's hard. So I'm not getting well just for myself. There's a third step prayer I like, and it says in the 12-step program, God, I offer myself to Thee to build with me and to do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self. Okay, listen to this. Relieve me of the bondage of these limitations that this body has and the mind and everything that it's imposing on me. Relieve me of that. Why? So that I can better do Thy will. See, don't relieve me of that just so then I can feel good, so then I can continuously live a debaucherous life. Ooh, now I can enjoy these poisons better now because I have a healthier body, so I'm not going to suffer the side effects as much. Hey, you see, that was my motive in the past for getting well, but this prayer is destroying selfishness and self-absorption. It's saying, relieve me of this, these bad habits so that I can do your will better. Relieve me of the bondage of self so that I can better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, listen to this, so that victory over them may bear witness to those who I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. You see, remove my difficulties so that others can see it's possible. Don't remove my difficulties just for my own sake. You see, we got to burn the selfishness at the core. That goes against the grain because it's instinctual that we be selfish for a while. Look at little kids. The universe surrounds, they think the universe is just there for them. That's okay, that's a stage. We got to go through that. But you see how deep that habit is? We grow older and still think the same thing. So we're asking the universe to remove our difficulties so that we can do what we're here to do in some kind of form of service. If that in our hearts, our true prayer, we'll get guidance on how to do all this and how to get started. Even if you feel like you don't have the power, you'll get the power, you see? But we got to somehow align ourselves to this spiritual axiom so that we can get the power. If we're stuck in selfishness, we're not going to get the power. Just not. That's my message. All right. Have a good day.